careful. You were warned. Life is Strange is mechanically uncomplicated. The characters have aged like poor rotten fruits for their time, and the writing aids to that with the angsty 2010s teen cringe and overdramatic immature jokes and language.
Good thing I left my AK at home.
Huh? What?
The faces looked half-baked at times before they remastered the game, and the world is based off of crucial decisions that you can just easily rewind to do again and again, and then you can pick the right choice. Now, with all of that grit and strange features I just mentioned, tell me why the original Life is Strange game is a phenomenal title with revolutionary story shifts that left an experience with me that I will never be able to replicate again. This is what Life is Strange means to me. The entire Life is Strange series is this whole slew of showcasing problems and coming to terms with them. This video will mainly be about Life is Strange 1, but I have played essentially all of the others, so I will occasionally mention them from time to time. But Life is Strange True Colors shows how romantic relationships can work really well in smaller, subtle ways. That whole game is about emotions and helping people deal with them in this supernatural level. Life is Strange 2 deals with so much more. The rocky road of brotherhood, the struggling bind of racism, and the sad nature of acceptance when it comes to your current situation and growing up. Being away from home and fending for yourself, and the blinding truth to it all really makes Life is Strange 2 unique among the whole Life is Strange series. I love Life is Strange 2, but we wouldn't have these without the trial run that is the original Life is Strange. Unfortunately, the whole game is definitely aged, but sometimes that adds to the charm of it. For example, the characters. Max Caulfield, this weird quiet girl who's our protagonist. Chloe Price, the edge, angsty, rebellious best friend. Victoria, that nasty popular bitch. Nathan, the rich asshole who shows sometimes this light of a real human being. And Kate, she's the depressed Christian girl, I think. That's her character. Life is Strange did really well at making these very dramatic Tumblr-esque characters into somewhat likable humans. I think an interesting bullet point of this game is that the love and affection these characters get from the fan base and the players. Like, people absolutely love Max and Chloe. And I can't blame them, they do have a soft spot in my heart as well. But all of these characters are just toxic portrayals of the real world. They talk shit about others, hurt others, use other people for their own selfish gain. Even the main characters, the one we play as, Max, the one that the player base takes advantage of, she takes advantage of other characters, using the rewind feature to go back in time and just do the right thing or fix the mistake, or essentially people pleasing. Giving us this illusion that Chloe Price is this sweetheart and making us believe we're not actually that bad of people. But in a world full of venom, the rattlesnake starts to look a little bit more appealing. In Life is Strange, you play as Max Caulfield, a teenager who has a strong passion for photography, and she moves back to her hometown from Seattle back to Arcadia Bay, Oregon. This place is a pretty crucial part in how not necessarily the world, but her childhood best friend Chloe Price views her. Constant reminders throughout the game of Max leaving her for a better life, almost like Max left Chloe to rot, to fend for herself against the troubles of Arcadia Bay, and sometimes the problematic nature of Chloe herself that Max can tend to level out from time to time. Or the constant little details to a missing girl called Rachel Amber, slowly picking apart information through dialogue and environmental clues to kind of get a sense that Rachel and Chloe became really close while Max was gone for a year or so. It's not the most apparent thing in the game, not until Life is Strange Before the Storm. That gives us this entire prequel story to Chloe and Rachel, and honestly, 100% playthrough if you like the first game. You have no choice but to play Before the Storm. It's essential to this world. You go throughout the first game making choices like a Telltale game. Think Walking Dead, but more with this open world interaction like Heavy Rain. You walk around multiple areas in Arcadia Bay, exploring places, investigating an item's history, and talking to all the kinds of people in Oregon. The game in face value mechanically is simple, and it's a nice go-to for narrative games. But what it does with that simple formula makes how you play the game innovative, making your decisions feel like real genuine choices or mistakes, which is crazy since your main function is to rewind time, which you think would just negate all of this. Things really ramp up throughout this game though. Wrong choices lead to people getting shot, or hating Max forever, or something just so sporadic that it takes you back. But you can rewind, so sometimes you do rewind and you go back through the dialogue with somebody and choose differently, only realizing this option might be good at the moment, people pleasing them for now, but with a terrible decision with bad consequences later. Life is Strange constantly keeps you on your toes, and it spiked my anxiety by at least 110%. The smartest tactic some of these narrative titles do that Life is Strange excels at is its time-based choices. There are certain choices throughout the game that are too huge to rewind sometimes. Stuff that either affects Max directly or sometimes is life-altering, or it calls for this crucial fate decision. These are not normal dialogue options you can simply rewind. This is something that will have a permanent change. These moments absolutely hurt me, alongside a lot of the usual bad decisions I was making casually. I think that these are some of this game's biggest positives, and as the series goes on, in later titles the choices actually feel a little less intense at some moments, which just goes to show the monstrosity of the original game and its uniqueness, which is what keeps me thinking about this original story in the first place. If Life is Strange was a TV show, it would be very close to 13 Reasons Why, kind of being this train wreck that you can't unsee. Not always being the best aged thing, but definitely catching your attention. It does have one major flaw though when it comes to how rewinding and time traveling works, of course. It's a game about teenagers, so I expected as much. If I focused more on the complex reality of the time traveling, this game would fall so flat. But big story moments that happen for plot can't be redone with a rewind, obviously, for progression reasons. Reality breaking the fabric of time, complicating even parallel universes. Very interesting big spoiler here, so skip ahead to the time on screen if you want to experience it for yourself. But there was a moment in the middle of Life is Strange where you can see what Chloe Price would have been like if she was in another timeline with her dad. So Chloe is this angsty teenager who just doesn't give a fuck about the world. She hates her stepdad and has pent-up emotional turmoil over everything that's happened in her life, mainly with her father passing away and the events that happened before the start of this game, which is played out in Life is Strange Before the Storm. But there comes a moment that is arguably a big flaw in time, but it's a video game, so we tread on, where Max cannot just rewind time at her will for a couple seconds or minutes, but she can concentrate so intensely on a photo and essentially time travel to that moment, almost breaking her original rewind time power. It's really well done story-wise, I can admit, and one of the biggest moments is when Max finds an old photo of her and Chloe as kids when her father was still around. We play out that little sequence when we relive those moments, walking around Chloe's house, interacting as a kid Max through that photo. But then a familiar moment pops up where Chloe's dad heads out and needs to pick up his wife when she was getting groceries, which is the same exact moment Chloe and Max last remember of her father before he passed away from a car crash. It's interesting, this origin of Chloe Price's shift in lifestyle. But what if Chloe never had to change? What if Chloe's dad never passed away? So we journey through this ideal with Max, and we try anything to keep him safe in this house, resulting in her father never leaving to pick up his wife. But a complete alternate timeline starts to piece together, so when we fast forward into our supposed current modern day, Chloe isn't the same person. Do you ever feel like you have to take control of a situation in your life? Fix something that is broken or give something that is wanted or needed by someone, even if you struggle to give it? Yeah, this is essentially what Max is doing. Taking fate into her own hands, but not delivering on the consequences of reality. Why do we obsess with everything good needing to happen to us, but prying ourselves open when bad things take its turn? Isn't both natural? I try to take control of my life relentlessly, and I find myself thinking of what would have changed, what would have been decided if life was different, or if my family passes away, someone important in my life goes, who will I be then? So why does Max think everything will be okay if Chloe has her dad back? Is this arguably the dumbest situation this character had to face, or is this oddly like the most realistic trait yet? We go through this part of the episode in Life is Strange, hanging out with Chloe if she did have her dad. We find her confined to her bed though with a crippling health condition, and after a while she builds us up and she wants us to make this decision for her. This is a really cute yet sad segment, and as it kept playing out, it just kept getting more real and tragic. This is really when I had the difficult time processing how this game affected me. As I do in almost every video, I resort back to honestly the reason why I'm here in the first place, my older brother. Often my brother will be restricted to his bed or hospital bed, although we don't usually picture it like that. But the world-shifting change of fun, rebellious Chloe being stripped away did make me think what would happen if my brother was different, or even so, what if I was the disabled one and my brother had that view on me. Now, obviously, to just let you know, I'm no way saying that I want the opposite version of my brother. I absolutely love my brother and want him how he is, because he affected the world how he affected it, how he is now, just as the same as everyone can do now. So I wouldn't ask anyone to be different. But although this situation a little bit cringy throughout the game, I found myself resonating hard with this specific section. When Chloe asked us to make a decision on ending her struggling life, I was put in such a cage, locked behind confusion. In this timeline, you can choose to help Chloe fall asleep in peace restfully, or stay alive but live with this condition and her struggling pain. Now, the person I was playing this game with said they chose her command and let her go peacefully. This kind of brought this dreadful unbalance to me, trying to understand why that could even be seen as a positive, but always coming back to my brother. I don't want to get too deep here, but what if this situation reminded me of me and him? Would I listen to some family member doing this to me, running up and asking me this? What would I do then? And I thought about it. I thought about if I would live their wish or live their reality. And I did that with Chloe. I said no to her decision and wanted her to live. There comes a question if keeping someone in that position alive is more selfish than it is giving, especially if they want to go. But as selfish as it is, if you want to call me that, personally, you could hate me till your last breath if it means giving you the chance to live another day, to find another meaning. This scene fucked me up a little bit. Out of all the specific scenes I would say in the series, overall, this one left an impact a little too close to home. But this game and series will constrict you. It left me begging for forgiveness, instantly regretting my actions, my choices, making me question my morals and the morals of Max as this character. Some of these instances really dehumanize Max and Chloe. It definitely tested my morality, patience, how fast was I willing to switch up and rewind back to people please. It unfortunately brought out some real insecurities I tend to fall into, saying yes to everyone, over promising, etc. It takes a very long time while playing this game to realize that Life is Strange does some genius things when it comes to its players' decisions. Many times throughout this game, I've gotten brutally beaten down inside, this anxiety racing, filling my heart with more beats per minute than cringy dialogue in this game, making me feel like this selfish villain doing what's best for me and getting my revenge on these characters, these rivals. So often I worried endlessly about the right decision, morally deciphering which one was actually right or wrong. This is what made Life is Strange for me. And what this game does that's so nurtured in the correct way is making the player feel this way when almost most choices have some bad consequences to them. There are some genuinely good moments in this game, another spoiler warning for example, so skip ahead to this time. But let's talk about Kate, that depressed Christian religious girl. Kate is this quiet, super sweet girl that kind of gets bullied beyond belief, especially from Victoria, that bitch. And some small bits of info throughout some of the episodes lead to rumors and videos supposedly about innocent religious Kate that make her look like a person she is really not, resulting in one of the most crucial moments in this game, Kate's attempted at unaliving herself. This is one of those irreversible actions coercing and helping Kate believe that she will be okay and everything will be worthwhile to step down from that ledge. But depending on what you say in that moment in response to her, on top of what you did and said in the past to her, drastically affects her being saved or committing. What a dark decision to do in here. While being a main section of these characters' hearts and plot, being just one of the multiple crazy shitstorms that happens in this game, unheard of in this triple anxiety-inducing atmosphere. Every little word you say, action you partake in, and even word/action you partake in, you don't do, but affects you and the people around you with each reverse and change of fate. Even the world around you isn't safe. No matter how many reverses, how many people you've pleased, how many decisions you made, something goes wrong. Life is Strange has such funny moral dilemmas. It really shows tons of different sides to people, even comparing your choices down to other people who chose what more of out of the player base. It ranks it all on a percentage. Life is Strange forces you to bend your beliefs and learn to accept fate as you choose. Being okay with your actions, your gut feeling, even if it didn't seem like the strongest choice at the time. As mixed as Life is Strange can be at times, just as a game in general, it taught me a lot about being more decisive as an indecisive person. Breaking through my fears of always worried something bad will happen, it showed me if I choose to be the best person I can be and decide around that, in the end, I'll at least do a lot more good than harm. While I have played through every Life is Strange at this point, and the other ones are in so many ways mechanically and visually more appealing than the first entry, the original holds this weird place for us that goes beyond what its sequels attempted, in my opinion. Learning to accept the fate of reality, of a situation I found it's some of the hardest adult fears to fight. The acceptance of negativity, loss, and betrayal sinks us down, causing a storm of emotions. All we can do is play through the game, live our life and choose one decision at a time, because maybe someday we won't have that second chance. Thank you. Peace and love. It's been Roxx.